going on, people of the internet and the earth and wherever else you may be dwelling? I don't know if you're listening to us on another planet, but if you are, hi, welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
Not Miguel.
And it has been a hot, as the kids say, microsecond. No, I'm kidding. I don't think anybody actually says that. But it's been a hot minute since we've been here, since we've been back. It's been a little over a month since we had our last live stream, month and a half, somewhere in there, which is bonkers. I feel like we haven't done this in an eternity. It's been an eternity.
I know. It was as if I gotta knock the dust off of this thing.
I know, right? Like dusting everything down. Look, I'm just gonna be straight up with you. It's been a long life. There are seasons and times in life that I feel like everything just moves at 75 miles an hour and there's no stopping it. Like we're just full on like foot on the brake. Which I guess if your foot on the brake, no, foot on the gas. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what my brain is doing right now. My point is, your foot is just on the gas, which I guess would be going faster than 75 miles an hour, unless you're in like a Prius, which I did own. And fun fact, Priuses actually go a lot quicker than most people realize. So whatever. There's that little tidbit of information. But the point is, we missed you and we're back. To say the least. We have dealt with everything from just like work was the big one to like family illness, and my kids started walking this week, and just like there's been 1,000 things going on, and it's been hard to find both the time and the energy to be here with you. But we're here now.
Well, I'm glad we were able to find energy today, guys. So catch yourself lucky, I suppose.
I know, right? Yeah, I've had a busy few days too, like just like mowing, cleaning out the car for Miguel because he's gonna start living in our car soon. No, I'm kidding.
I know he pulled up the third row seating just for me. Can you imagine getting third row all to yourself?
Just for you, man. Just for you. No, we do this every year, but we're going to Taste of Cincinnati, which is like a whole food, alcohol event. I know it's a public event. People are allowed to go. Yeah, we're going on Monday. So if you're there, come say hello, hi. Don't kill us though, or kidnap us. That would not be that wouldn't be good.
Please don't come say hi. That'd be downer the date.
If you're gonna kill us, it would. Dying would be a pretty big downer. That would 2024 has been kind of harsh so far. I'm gonna be real, but dying would definitely that would.
I don't think dying is a good excuse to being late to work on Monday. So it's Tuesday, so
yeah, it's not.
Please don't do it.
Yeah. Good thing I don't have. Well, actually, I do have to go to work again one more time next week. But good thing about that teacher life is I get summers off. Not really, because we technically don't get paid for the summer, but that's okay. Anyways, so there's a lot to talk about on the show. We've missed a lot. Three big ones is the whole Jason universe thing. I don't. Your guess is as good as mine as to what the deal is with that whole thing. I have a sneaky suspicion that this is just like it's like you wrap a present and you make it look like it's going to be something really, 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 really exciting, and then you open it and it's empty. Like I feel like that's what this is. It's like they're wrapping up the whole Friday the 13th franchise in this really, really cool package, and it's going to be like, hey, this is awesome. You're still not getting anything new for a long time, but it's called something and it has a logo now. like why just put out a new box set or something? Like why do we need to like repurpose an empty space into something? I don't know. It's weird. So we're gonna talk the whole Jason universe thing because there's a lot of different ways that could go. Big old 28 years later news, which I'm stoked about. Y'all know I love 28 years later.
We got a lot to talk about for this next sequel that's coming out, don't we?
My boy is back. I'm still not sold on the trilogy thing. Like I'm kind of starting to get annoyed by the fact that everything has to be a trilogy.
Like, hey, eat a dick.
It was cool for like the Spider-Man thing or like the Batman thing, but like, you know, or like that OG Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy or something like that, or, you know, even the Bourne films. I know that's not technically a trilogy, but if you look at the OG 3, it technically is.
OG 3? Well,
but it's like everything.
If you're able to milk the franchise a little bit, go ahead. And I'm never, as long as the quality doesn't go down, I'm never against it. And I don't think any of the trilogies that I've seen went down. maybe when I was young, I probably thought like Spider-Man 3 sucked, but I don't know. I enjoyed Spider-Man 3 and
Was I in the
all these other
minority on that
trilogies.
on not thinking that that sucked?
What?
Am I in the minority on not thinking that that sucked? I thought that movie was
No,
baller. It's like
I
as
think it
soon as it
was
came out.
I think it's understanding that um I don't know what it was because there's lots of things that I love about Spider-Man 3 that I think people hated at the time. But I think it's now more of like a it's not like a cult classic, is it? Like you have like a small following that loves it, but I liked it. Like Bully Maguire is probably like something I know that had a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth.
Yeah,
I, for
yeah,
one, enjoyed it after a couple of watches. So
yeah.
I think that even with the villains and stuff like that, I thought it was. I'm sure back then I thought it was cheap, but now it's just like, meh, happy that I got what
I
I
mean,
got.
it felt like a true comic book movie in the same way that the first Toby movie felt like a true comic book movie.
Hmm
In,
Well, I
in
think
the
it's.
same way that
I do think that it is the fact for Spider-Man 2 being such a huge moment in comic book movie adaptation history, and then you get
yeah,
Spider-Man 3, which again is not a terrible movie, but at the same time, not like
it's not.
it's not like the sequel elevated the franchise anymore. You know what I mean?
It didn't. It suffers from Resident Evil 6 syndrome where there's too much going on. Like
Hmm
it like there if they would have stuck to like one or two villains then and I see what they were going for. They wanted it to be like, "Oh, he hasn't had to face three at one time before," like I get what they were trying to do, but
Let
there
alone
was a
2.
lot of different storylines embedded
Hmm
in that movie. So,
hmm
um but yeah, I'm not sold on the 28 days, years, months, weeks, decades, centuries. I don't know. I'm not sold on that just yet, but we'll see. I'm open to it. I'm just
hmm
not sure. I'm not sure how that's all going to work out, but I have a theory about the Cillian Murphy thing. We'll get to that. And then your boy, Adam Wingard, he isn't returning. Did you see that? That was 2 or 3 days ago that story broke.
I
They
did, and
announced he's
people are
not
upset about
returning.
him not finishing his trilogy. I guess today is about trilogies. Um, yeah, I heard he
But
wasn't
didn't he though? Didn't he
returning.
direct three? Which ones did he did? Godzilla versus Kong.
Hmm
He did Godzilla X Kong. Didn't he do
hmm
King of the Monsters?
That was Michael Daughtry, dude.
I thought he did three.
No, I
Did he
think this
do?
was
No, he
supposed to
didn't. He didn't
be.
do Kong Skull Island, did he? Maybe he didn't. I don't know.
No,
I don't
he
know
didn't
what
do
I'm
Kung
thinking.
Fu Line.
Well,
No, I think this next film was supposed to be his like trilogy, but I guess
yeah.
Legendaries had different ideas for the direction they want to take. I don't know. It's weird for me to think that anything can happen further with the trilogy that Adam might want. So, and I appreciate the fact that like Adam was very adamant about ending each film as a full story so that
Yeah.
it doesn't perpetuate the idea for another sequel only if the studio or him wants to do one. So
Yeah.
I think it's nice that even though we're not going to get the trilogy that Adam Wingard probably wanted, I think I am content with the story that we have right now, and considering everything that's happened with Godzilla and Kong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm personally okay with it. Let's just dive into this. Quick before we dive into that, SBC Austin, what's up, man? He says, "Hell yeah, the boys are back in town." That wasn't the right key, and I sounded like a dying horse, but whatever. He said, "Would you rather it be a trilogy or a universe?" If you're talking about the 28 Days Later thing, um,
I would rather it be
I'm
a
hesitant
trilogy.
to say universe too because I think I would pick trilogy because universe can get real. Universe can get
You're
real.
real
Let's do a
messy.
TV show. Let's do a short. Let's do a 27 more movies. Like it's like that could get real daunting really quick too. So,
You want to talk about a gap?
Ryan,
Ow. Yeah, that's huge.
ha, Ryan, I'm going to butcher your last name. Olachow? Olachow? What's up, Ryan? So glad you're here.
No, it's
I
Taylor
like
Swift,
the T
bud.
Swift. Taylor Swift is in our chat right now. Holy
Yep.
crap.
With 2012 summer glasses.
Yeah, right. So while we're on the topic, let's just do the thing and let's just talk about the Adam Wingard stuff. Anyway,
Hmm.
so this was on the Hollywood Reporter. It's where I saw it, at least, on their daily edition from May 22nd, so just a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. Adam Wingard not returning for Godzilla X Kong sequel. This one was an exclusive to the Hollywood Reporter. Godzilla and Kong have, hang on, let me move this screen out of the way. Godzilla and Kong have smashed their last building for Adam Wingard. I don't know if I ever remember Godzilla and Kong specifically smashing a building, but
I
whatever.
left. Yeah,
At least for now. Wingard, who has directed the last two of Legendary's hit MonsterVerse movies, will not be returning for a third installment, multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. The parting of ways is described as amicable and stemming from timing issues. Godzilla and Kong have smashed it. Oh, well, that was, I guess that I just read the, whoops. Where did I guess I don't know. Godzilla and Kong have smashed their last building for Adam Wingard. Wingard, who has directed the last two of Legendary's hit MonsterVerse movies, will not be returning for a third installment. We already read that. The parting of ways is described as amicable and stemming from timing issues. The door remains open for a future return, per insiders. Wingard is coming off directing and co-writing Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which has grossed over $564 million worldwide since its March 29th domestic opening. The movie's still kicking ass a month later, which is awesome. That's really, really cool to see. I'm going to be real. I was a little scared that it was not going to do super, super well. It's killing the game, literally.
Yeah.
Like, it is absolutely wrecking at the box office, which is awesome to see. I mean, when I say wrecking,
Hey, look, when you have Godzilla,
I'm not talking
Kong,
Avatar
like,
or
obviously
Avengers Endgame.
No, it's always going to do well. By no means am I by no means did I think that Godzilla X Kong was gonna like fall off. Not as bad as like, you know, as like the MCU Spider-Man. I don't know if you heard about that. They like re-released
Yeah, I thought.
Homecoming, and apparently that like fell off hard.
Yeah. A lot of people went and saw the Toby trilogy. Like, it made buku amounts of money too when that was in the theater.
Yeah.
They're really pushing the Spider-Man stuff hard still. Like, I feel like I see Marvel post about one of the older Spider-Man films like every other day.
Mm-hmm. I think
They got to be coming back. They wouldn't be pushing that hard if they weren't coming back. Like, there's no way.
No, I agree.
100% they're coming back. So, anyways, Wingard is coming off directing. We just read that. Sorry, Wingard, who didn't have a deal for any new installment, said he had more stories to tell during the press tour, but also unveiled a new original feature project that he wanted to tackle before another monster movie. That project, an action thriller titled Onslaught, was picked up in a competitive sale by A24 and is prepping for a fall shoot. That didn't fit into Legendary's plan to move swiftly onto the next monster tag team. Although it signaled it would like to see Wingard return to the director's chair, his return was looking dubious when the company shared Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings scribe David Callahan to begin penning a new script a week or two later. This week, the parting of ways was made official, according to sources. Legendary now goes on to start fresh for its next MonsterVerse movie. It is unclear whether it will continue to explore concepts such as Hollow Earth. Please don't. Let's give that a rest for right now. I'm sorry, but let's give it a rest. The idea that vast subterranean worlds exist inside the Earth, and characters such as the adventurous vet played by Dan Stevens that were introduced by Wingard. Wingard, for his part, leaves the franchise on a high note. Godzilla X Kong is about to become the highest grossing of the 5 MonsterVerse movies and will likely snatch that title from 2017's Kong Skull Island, which peaked at $568 million. Million is great. It was incredible. $1 million this weekend. It also may be one of the most profitable, if not the single most profitable, of the 5 movies in the series, as it only cost $135 million to make. Wingard's initial Godzilla entry was Godzilla vs. Kong, which was released during the COVID-19 pandemic, both theatrically and streaming service on HBO Max, now known as Max. The movie still grossed over 100 million domestically, I gotta stop doing that, and 470 million worldwide, and was among the movies credited for saving cinema during bleak theatrical times. So there you go. Adam Wingard is not returning. I'm okay with it personally, and here's why. We've talked, this is not new information. We've talked about this before. I loved Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong was a movie that meant a lot, like as a King Kong fan, as a Godzilla fan. For me and you, it meant a lot because we had seen all of the MonsterVerse films in the theater together, and us being fans of both of those characters, like it was just a big deal as a movie fan. And it delivered on a lot of different things. It was really good. Godzilla X Kong, I would like to watch it again. Hopefully it hops in on Max within the next month or two. I'd like to see it again because
it's on digital now, and I was almost tempted on just purchasing it. Might as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it again because I liked what he did, but there was something... I've talked about this before. King of the Monsters felt dark and gritty, and it felt like this. It was a good analogy, I think, is like it was like the Captain America, the Winter Soldier of the MonsterVerse. Like it was a little bit darker. It was a little bit more gruesome. It was a little bit more thematic. And something about Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong felt comic booky and kind of cartoony. And it's not crazy, like it didn't ruin the movies for anything, but like some of the lines, like again, one of the things that still to this day, when we rewatched Godzilla versus Kong before watching that, I think we did it at the end of March, early April, somewhere in there. Every time Godzilla and Kong fought, there had to be someone being like, that one goes to Godzilla. And it's like, oh my gosh, are you why'd you need to say that? Like, what was the purpose of that line? Yes, Kong is laying on the ground, his ribs are broken. We see that goes to Godzilla. Like, we don't need exposition to explain that. And then the whole Hollow Earth thing, it's just like, I don't know, man.
That's the one that is not a fan of Hollow Earth.
I'm really not. The more and more at first, I didn't mind it, but the more and more I think about it, and the idea that it just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, like, it's like, okay, how?
Because at this point, we're going to reach the core.
Yeah, like, there's no more Earth to go. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of wild. And I'm not 100% sold on that storyline and what they're going to do with that. But, like, even that article brought up the Dan Stevens thing. I like Dan Stevens. He did a good job as that character. But it's like having one comic relief character is one thing, but when you have him doing the vet stuff and you have the podcaster dude, I forget his name. God, what's his name?
Brian? Bernie?
It's just like, yeah, it's like there's 4 or 5 different comic relief characters, and I think it loses something when there's
those two acted
that much levity. It was good, yeah. But again, it loses. I don't know. Both of those films lost a little bit of seriousness for me, and I'm not saying they have to be these uber serious, dark. Like, I'm not saying I want some. I don't want a horror movie out of it. You know what I mean? But I do want more of the Godzilla King of the Monsters.
You wanted much more of like.
Why is it spicy? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah,
Yes.
you wanted a heavy lore kind of film. And I think Adam was not trying to do that. And that's by no means am I harking on Adam at all. But I think he was just going for like a light buddy cop film, which is pretty much what he said. I think I read in a report. So with that in mind, I knew what I was getting myself into. I wasn't expecting Scar King to be as much of a foe as all these others that had some really heavy stakes in the game.
Yeah. Perfect way to put it. Godzilla fighting Ghidorah, or even Godzilla fighting Rodan. Like, all of that felt like there were legitimate stakes involved. Godzilla X Kong felt so easy. Like, that final fight scene was just like it built it up like it was going to be this intense, they are almost going to die if they
Hmm.
manage to make it through this. And they just ended up wiping the floor with both of them. And the ice one, the Shima Hakalaka, I don't even know what it was.
Respect
Like,
on your name, dog.
then whatever. It ended up being like as soon as Scar King was done, it was like, I'm on your side. We're cool. I love you.
Mhm.
Only love. Like, it was like, what? Like where did I don't where was the fight? Like, it seemed too easy. The glove thing. Kong's hurt. Wait, I have this glove over in a I know that whole little compound that we just showed that was completely destroyed by Scar King. Yeah, there's actually a glove hidden in that, and it was designed for this very, like, what?
I'm not gonna lie,
It just
and
feels
with
too
all
easy.
due respect to Kong, I thought Kong's storyline was hokey pokey as opposed to Godzilla's. I'm
It
not gonna lie.
was. It was. It was. It
I
was hokey pokey.
I personally did not like Kong's storyline. I enjoyed Godzilla's because it seemed very straightforward. And
Yes.
pushing the fact that, like, hey, my boy's a badass. Like put some respect on
Yeah.
his name. Kong, I just
Well,
didn't
and
feel like
it
he
it
had gravitas.
Godzilla's storyline has been consistent with his lore. Kong's storyline, we've taken bits and pieces of Kong's lore and just like crumpled it up and burned part of it and then tried to like tape new paper to it and like make it into something new. And it's just like it's a lot. Like, I don't
Hmm.
I'm a traditional, when it comes to Kong, I'm a traditional person, and like I'm okay with
He doesn't
taking,
like
like,
the
I
fact
was
that
actually
Kong's
kind of
doing all this
cool.
extra stuff as opposed to just getting shot down with biplanes. That's all he's saying.
No, I don't want him to be shot down with biplanes, but also this Kong is like half the size of the Empire State Building, so it would be kind of stupid if it'd be kind of dumb if he just
If
randomly
he
would
was,
like
yeah.
climb to the top. Yeah, that'd be weird.
No, I
Sierra
agree.
said, "What up, homie?" And my
And my
other
other
homie,
homie,
"What up?
which one am I?
What
Am
up,
I the other homie?
homie?"
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm the other
I'm the
homie.
main homie.
Understand?
You're the other homie. You're the other one. It's okay.
No,
It's all right.
I thought you and
We
I were
still
the
love
main
you,
homies.
kind of. Oh, bros before no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My
Don't you
wife is
think
gonna slap
that?
me in the face when I go upstairs. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just like any other. No, I'm kidding. I love my wife. But yeah, man, I'm excited for a new flavor. She said, "Wow, I love you. You know I
He
love you.
lost. He lost a viewer
You
right
know I
there.
love you." I lost more than a viewer apparently. No, but I'm excited for new flavor. I am curious to see where they're gonna go, like story wise, director wise. Who are they gonna get in
I
there?
know.
James Wan. No, I'm kidding. Sam Raimi,
I'm not opposed to like any
the
other director.
Russo brothers.
Look. Like I'm one that came from the Toho franchise and watched every other director from the Japanese film industry try their luck at Godzilla, and that's where we got like over 50 years of Godzilla, and every bit of him being different and acting different and a whole different storyline. So I am very much excited to see how he progresses through Hollywood and see how different he can be in different directors' hands. So
Yeah,
for me to be concerned about Adam not returning would be foolish because of the amount of directors that we have that would and should put their hands on this franchise and at least try it, because I'm not by any means thinking that like they have to follow like the heavy lore of what Godzilla is. I just think they should do their best in making a film that honors Godzilla and its franchise that it's had over the last 50 years. And I think any director is capable of doing that because we've seen Michael Daughtry, Gareth Edwards, and Adam Wingard do a tremendous job on every one of the films that we've had so far. So
Yeah, I would agree. What era did they say this one was
it was
a
reminiscent
nod
of
to?
the Showa era. That's
Showa.
what it
Okay.
was.
Well, I mean, he even said this was a straight up nod to the Showa era. Like, it's not like, and I can get behind that. Like, he had a very specific purpose with
Hmm.
Godzilla X Kong in making it a true nod to that era, and that was kind of
Hmm.
campy and silly, and like it did some kind of wild and crazy things. So I'm okay with that. I'm good with the fact that it was a true nod to that era and to those types of characters and to that type of story. But we've had that now. Like I'm good. I don't let's
You
do
just wanted to
something
continue
new
to happen
with
as
it.
if
You know what I
it
mean?
wasn't going on for like fucking 10 years of it.
Yeah. You know what they should do? Quentin Tarantino. No, I'm kidding.
No, I
Quentin
wouldn't want
Tarantino would
that.
have
No offense. No
he would
offense to
have
you, but
Godzilla and Kong. I'm
I
kidding.
wouldn't want.
He
I
would have
wouldn't want
Godzilla and
that.
Kong
I
finding
wouldn't want that to
like
be your 11th film kind of thing.
it would be like the hunt for Godzilla and Kong, and they would, the humans would be looking all over the planet, and they'd go down in Hollow Earth, and they'd find them like snorting
Samuel L.
cocaine with
Jackson.
dinosaurs or
Yeah,
something, with their feet kicked back. Like, yeah,
like Samuel L. Jackson would be the main
be wild.
character, and it'd be some wild story, and there'd be like 12,000 monologues. Like even Godzilla would get a monologue himself.
It would just be him going, yeah. But anyways, so that's a little bit of a Godzilla Kong tidbit of news. Do with that what you will. Put it in a bottle, shake it, drink it up. Probably
Well, I
tastes
mean,
like
overall, how you
podcast.
feeling about it, man? Do you feel excited for the fact that Adam is gone, but the door is still open for any director you want?
Yes, I don't know how. Like, I don't know where we go from here. I'm gonna be honest, I don't, because my gut says, hey, give Godzilla and Kong a solo movie first before you do another team up crossover thing.
Well,
But
there you
where do you
go. I don't
go?
agree
Like
with that.
what do
But
you
I agree
do?
with that.
You don't
I
agree
agree
with
with.
that?
I agree with doing just single movie for Godzilla and Kong now.
Yeah. But still though, like really think about it. Are you gonna have Kong find yet another creature to fight in Hollow Earth?
Sure.
Do you do this? I personally like the idea of the next film being a Godzilla film, and you do the space Godzilla thing,
No, not yet, dude. Not
because
yet.
we've gone down, we've seen what's in the Earth. We got to go up. We got to see what's going on up there in space.
Not yet. Not yet. We still got a lot more lore to delve into. A lot more movies to follow through with before we go into Space Godzilla. And
You
you fellow
think?
Godzilla fans, you agree with me too.
So apparently, I learned this the other day. I saw in a Facebook group. Is there? You're my Godzilla. What is on me right now? The fly. Go away. You're my Godzilla go-to anytime I have a Godzilla lore question. So Ghidorah is an alien, correct?
Hmm.
Ghidorah is from another race of Ghidorahs. Yes.
Hmm.
I saw a thing about like an ultimate King Ghidorah or something like that. Some like it's like 3 times the size of the Ghidorah we saw in King of the Monsters.
So
Is
yeah,
that fact? Is that true? Because
that's
that seems
technically
like that would be a pretty big world-ending event if
that's
if he
that's
showed up at the door.
that's technically true. According to Legendary, there was a race of Ghidorahs, and I think the scariest fact of it, the scariest little tidbit fact of this franchise or this universe is knowing the fact that like Ghidorah and King of the Monsters was probably the smallest adolescent. Like he wasn't fully grown.
Yeah.
and that was the point of
That's
like
terrifying.
showing that. Yeah, that's like fucking terrifying as shit. Like imagine like, so
Because he still towered over top of Godzilla. Like,
I know. So it's it's safe for me to assume that like yes, there are multiple uh species. There are multiple species of Ghidorah, but it's it wouldn't be smart for me to say like another one could just pop into the fucking world on a whim
another
notice.
one.
We would not get another
Another
one.
one.
We would definitely not get another one. I would say. I think we would probably get something completely different from the skies above.
Legendary and Toho are like, hey, what do we want to do for the next sequel? Another
Another
one.
one.
That's the sequels. They just keep sending new Ghidorahs down from space. That's where the franchise goes.
You know how many
But I
different
don't know.
Ghidorahs we've had over the last 70 years of Godzilla?
Quite a bit, right?
At least 5.
Really.
Yeah, we've had
But
5
are they
different Ghidorah.
variations of the same character?
No, they're
Like, is
different.
it technical or is it really different characters?
Each one of them was different in their own right.
Are you talking remakes of the same character?
Now that I'm
Or are
not
you talking
sure.
actual? Are you talking actual different? Like in this within the same universe, there are different ones that have showed up.
See, that's where like it's kind of I can't
Riddle me
really
that.
like yeah, I can't explain that. I'm not gonna lie, because every now and then it'd just be like a random space creature that appeared out of nowhere, and other times it'd be a space creature from that was built that was like utilized by another alien race kind of thing. Like we could have had
Yeah,
that as opposed to just an animalistic alien that just invaded. So,
fair.
like, who knows? The next time we get Ghidorah, it might be followed by some aliens with eye visors. If you don't know what I'm talking about, like look up Monster Zero aliens and see how they dress. It's fucking
Okay,
hilarious.
you don't have to tease me with a good time.
Look up the original one, man.
Monster Zero Aliens.
Yeah. What are they? Who are they called? Let me think. They're
What
called the Zillions.
in God's name am I looking at right now? What is
Yeah,
that?
Zillions. I forgot their history. I forgot their lore. But boy, when I tell you, when I first saw them, I was like, who the fuck are these techno discos? It was pure 70s. I'm not gonna lie. This was as 70s as you would
Wow.
get it in regards to aliens. And I was 100% for it.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie. I loved it. If you look at 2004 Zillions, they were pretty dope. They were pretty edgy. They were very much reminiscent of like Linkin Park era days. Like if you look up here, look up 2004 Zillions. Like they had a better outfit. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
my god. See, the Godzilla lore is too, bro. I don't know. It's too much. Like I
No
can't.
depth,
It's like
dude.
how hardcore Star Wars people, like I just can't
False.
do it. Like I
False.
can't.
False. That is 100% false. We, as a
No, okay. I'm
Godzilla
not gonna.
franchise, we love the fact that we get any movie at this point, as opposed to like Star Wars, where they get mad if they change the fucking pronunciation of another character. That's what pisses
No, hold
people
on.
off. Now,
I'm
that's not
not.
to say don't get mad at me, Austin. I know I am a Star Wars fan as well, but you have to admit that the fandom is a little bit more critical of their lore than your typical
It
Godzilla
is.
fandom.
It is. I'm not now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing the fandoms here. That's if we're comparing the fandoms. Star Wars surpasses any fandom. Like
Yeah,
Star
if
Wars
I hear
people
a
are,
director touching
they're
a Star Wars film,
downright
I
psycho.
automatically sending them a prayer because they have a
Hide
big
your kids,
boulder.
hide your wife.
Yeah.
You know, no, but it's the history of it. Like there are people like I know people that could recite every character and their history and facts about like there's this version in this thing, but this person was with this person and this is their child and it goes back to the clone this and that, and like I like my brain can't keep up, like I just can't do it. I can't, it's not my thing. I almost feel like that about the Godzilla stuff because like you're like in this era this happened and in this era that happened and this character is a remake of this character and like my brain just can't follow it. I have King Kong brain where it's like the biggest variation we've had in that character is the fact that in the 70s remake, the 73 or 74 or whatever it was remake, bro climbed the World Trade Center instead of the Empire State Building. Like that's the biggest change we've had. Other than it's different dinosaurs that he's fighting on Skull Island, or it's you know what I mean? Like obviously
Mhm.
the Peter Jackson film, they really dove into all of that a little bit more, but like the King Kong lore is so much simpler. Now, you do have the weird stuff. You have Son of Kong and you have where they in one point, like at one point they used the dead Kong's blood to bring his child, or they used his son's blood to bring old Kong back to life. Like it's just like they've done weird things there too. But the scope of the weird things they've done with King Kong versus the weird things they've done with Godzilla is like 30% to 90%. You know what I mean?
You think it's
There's
more
just
weird with
and
Godzilla than it is with Kong?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
Definitely.
no, I disagree with that 100%. I think the stuff they did with Kong was
Really?
more weird. Yeah, because it makes
Let's see.
sense with
How
like
many
Godzilla because he's like a nuclear lizard that just like mutated out of nowhere, and like so like you're kind of like suspending disbelief, but you just have a monkey that happens to be a lot bigger than normal, and they're like, let me throw everything at it.
Yeah. So there's 13 in total. So you had King Kong from 33. You had Son of Kong also in 33. Dude, that's wild. They went they had King Kong on March 2nd came out, the original King Kong. December 22nd the sequel released. Like they didn't even give it a year. They were like sequel now. Do it. Um so that they were both 33. You had King Kong versus Godzilla. That was the third entry?
But
Really? That's interesting. I didn't realize King Kong versus Godzilla was like the next
oh
Kong entry. That's
yeah,
interesting.
well because it was really popular back then, and Godzilla was
I
popular, so they
thought,
were just like, why not throw them together?
huh,
No, it's pretty
interesting.
poppin'.
Interesting. Anyways, so you had King
You
Kong
know, there
versus
was a Queen
Godzilla.
Kong in like
Yes.
1976.
Yep. King Kong escapes. I know that's weird. You had King Kong, which was
Not to
the
say it's a woman
76.
Kong, and I'm ucking about that. I'm just
No, the 76 is like sexual predator Kong. That's the one it was the Dino De Laurentiis remake where he
hmm
climbs the World Trade Center instead of the Empire State Building.
hmm
That's the one where every time he looks at Andero, he's like
yeah, weird Kong, pervert Kong.
he's a straight up perv in that movie. You
hmm
had King Kong Lives, which was kind of a supposed to be a sequel to that film. It was garbage. You had the Jackson film in 2005. You had you had Kong Skull Island and then Godzilla versus Kong and then GXK. So those are the 13. Now let's look at the Godzilla film, shall we?
With what?
Godzilla total film. So there's 13. 38. You cannot tell me Godzilla's lore. 38 films compared to 13 is not way more in depth than
Yeah,
Kong's.
but it's much. It's let it's not as wild as Kong.
Bro,
I'm just saying.
like wild.
Yeah, but it follows like three major eras, if that makes sense.
Also, is it weird Is it really weird to you that like King Kong, like the King Kong character was created 20 years before Godzilla was? Because that's strange to me.
No, not necessarily. At least for me. No, it doesn't surprise me because I don't know why King Kong was written. I forgot the whole history behind it. But
It's
like
a
we
lot. It's
know,
more that
but
that's a story for another day.
no.
There's
King,
some racism involved. There's a lot of things
yeah,
to that.
see,
That yeah.
King Kong got
We'll
some
talk we'll talk about that on
King
another
Kong got
show.
some cancel culture shit on its hands right now. Godzilla,
Yeah.
on the other hand, was the cancel culture like
Fair. Fair.
made from the atomic bomb or a reaction to the atomic bomb and just
Yeah.
started from there. Was supposed to be a somber uh what's it called? Alluding to the bombs, but turned into an absolute giant lizard fight other monster kind of film.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
got like let me think, 1954. Let me do my math.
It's just funny because like I'm looking at all the titles. You've got like Godzilla versus this person, Godzilla versus this person, Godzilla raids
70
again,
years.
Godzilla Tokyo SOS. Like and
Good
then you have
movie.
Son of Godzilla. You have King Kong versus Godzilla.
Good movie.
Like they might as well throw in like they might as well throw in like first cousin of Godzilla. Like it's so much. Like it's more than my brain can handle in terms of it. I just can't do it.
Yeah. You
It's the
have this.
same. Even
What is Rewa? What? How's it? How is it? Rewa.
Rewa,
Rewa era.
Rewa.
That's the era that we're in right now.
Oh, the Legendary era.
Yeah, that's or like just like the new era of like Godzilla, like from 2016. So like Shin Godzilla, um,
Oh,
the
Godzilla minus
anime
one, the
Godzilla.
Legendary
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Shin
minus
Godzilla,
one. Like
bro. Shin
all
Godzilla's weird as hell.
it is. I
I
gotta
actually, I
watch that
was,
again.
it's, I was just watching a clip. I was scrolling on Instagram and a clip of that came up. It's weird.
Yeah,
Like, it was one of the scenes when he's like evolving and morphing into something else, and the eyes are like bulging. It like very, very strange interpretation of that character. Odd.
it definitely is. But man, dude, it's wild for me to think that like you have all of these fucking films that like from Godzilla, like spanning 70 years with different people touching it. Like it isn't like Adam Wingard just like filmed over fucking 40 films, but like it was just a multitude of people just like throwing their hat in the ring and be like, this is what I think Godzilla would look, if he returned, if he like fought this monster, if he fought
Yeah.
this monster, or if he just was a bad guy, or if he was a good guy. Like, holy shit, dude. And
I will say, at
it all
least
started with
Godzilla.
Ishiro Honda, and yeah, I was
Mm,
big fan. Like, just I was very surprised.
at least Godzilla always looked pretty good. Somebody actually looked at that in 1976 and said, "That's it.
That looks dope.
That's it.
I don't know.
That's the look." He's so creepy. Like he, I don't know. There's something about it that's just very like, I want to see you naked. Like it's so. Jessica Lange looks so like uncomfortable in that entire movie. First of all, they gave her like she looks like Tarzan. Like she has got on zero clothing in that movie.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure dude was rock hard
I think that was like a
the
lot of
entire time.
people's. I think that was just a lot of people's. What's it called? Crush back then was Jessica Lange.
Yeah.
But if you look at Son of Godzilla, that was probably like the most weirdest Godzilla that I ever seen. That was a weird Godzilla. I'm not gonna lie. That suit
Yeah.
was by far really fucking weird, and that's probably the ugliest one I've seen out of all the Godzillas.
Yeah. Son of Kong was pretty bad. Son of Kong was pretty rough too.
Yeah.
This was
Each,
the
each, each franchise had its moments.
this was the second film in the whole franchise. He
That's very
says,
rough.
"What do you say?
He said, what do you say?
What? What are you looking at? I don't know.
LOL.
I'm confused.
Look at Son of Kong. Look at Son of Godzilla, and just look how fucking
His
wild it was.
on Son of Kong, his eyebrows take up half of his face.
Yeah,
Son of Godzilla.
yeah, and just look at the fucking like
Son of
atrocity of what that
Godzilla.
is. Like that's supposed to
Song of
be
Godzilla.
no Son.
I know, but it. Oh, oh
Yeah,
God.
fucking gross. Oh, there's an article that says, "What is the purpose of Manila other than being cute?"
Oh God. Why? Why does it look like that? It looks like
Yeah,
a crushed raisin.
yeah, it's pretty bad. I wasn't really a fan of that film. I think that was one that was like
Gross.
like Manila becomes like he can speak English. I think that's
It
what it
looks
is.
like
Or
what
no,
Jeff
maybe it's
Goldblum turns into in The Fly.
LOL. Yeah, no, I guarantee it. Yeah,
That is nasty. It doesn't it it's like a mixture of the monster in The Fly and baby Jim Carrey Grinch.
LOL.
That is nasty looking.
Yeah, dude. And you want to talk about eyebrows, bro?
Ooh.
My man looks like he has cat
Ugh.
ears.
I take back what I said. That's worse. That's
Yeah,
bad.
Manila was pretty bad.
That's cute. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
We're moving on from that. That's a great way to end that conversation because I'm gonna see that in my nightmares tonight. That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
But so speaking of universes, one of the strangest things has happened with Friday the 13th, and I haven't even really gotten to talk to you about this because we've been so busy and we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about a whole bunch of movie news together, like outside of the show. So about guess going on a couple weeks ago now. When did this story drop? May 16th. So about a week ago. There was, as everyone knows, Friday the 13th has been the franchise has been locked in this battle between Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham for who owns the rights. And Victor Miller has won, or horror. I don't even remember. Horror Inc. has won the lawsuit, and it's been this whole train for years and years and years of everything that has happened. But essentially, the Jason universe has been launched by Horror Inc. Your guess is as good as mine of what exactly that means and what exactly that entails, because who knows? It could be anything. It's not necessary. Here's what I understand. It's not necessarily the announcement of a new movie. It's not necessarily not the announcement of a new movie, but it is kind of trying to link the entire franchise, the good, the bad, and the ugly, together. And I don't understand what the purpose is. From a marketing standpoint, I understand. But it seems odd to me. And I'm not 100% sold on what's happening. Quite frankly, I'm pretty confused. So
Sounds like you're
this
fed
is
up.
coming to us from Bloody Disgusting. What'd you say?
Sounds like you're fed up.
I'm just confused. I'm confused as to why for years. I mean, it's been 2009 was when the remake came out. So I mean, it's been well over a decade, going on 15 years
Mm-hmm.
since we have had a Friday the 13th film or a live action appearance of Jason Voorhees. I don't understand why. First of all, it kills me that the two of them were locked in that heated legal battle the entire time because
Yeah, over semantics, I think, honestly.
yeah, like essentially Sean Cunningham said that he created the franchise and he wanted, he wanted the character and of Pamela and the whole Crystal Lake thing. But then Victor Miller
Can you
was saying
imagine
we
going
had the
over like
hockey
a
mask was because
court
he's
battle
not
so you can
technically
on who takes Pamela?
I know, right? Like, because technically, Hockey Mask Jason, which is what has become synonymous with the franchise, Hockey Mask Jason didn't appear until part three, like halfway through part three, because
Mm,
Jason wasn't even barely in the first film. He was in it for 10 seconds at the end when he jumps out of the water. So Pamela was the main villain in the first one. In the
mhm,
second film, he was Baghead Jason or Sackhead Jason or Potato Sack Jason. However, there's different ways of saying it. It was Jason with the bag on his head. And then halfway through the third film is when he actually finds the hockey mask and puts it on, and he becomes full on zombie hockey mask Jason.
mhm.
So there was a discrepancy in the rights and who could do what with them, because technically Hockey Mask Jason was a different character from the Jason Voorhees name that was originally established. It's so
Yeah, could
tricky.
you
But
imagine
the thing
the
that
turmoil
irritated
that
me
you had to
about the
go
whole
through
thing,
to figure out the fucking like? Yeah, I don't know. It's like us as a fans fell in love with like Hockey Mask Jason, but then we didn't know that like you know he wasn't the OG Jason.
yeah,
Like that's what really fucking boggles my mind.
yeah. I Here's the thing that kills me about the whole lawsuit is the fact that if they like in my head the entire time when all of this was happening, and we had a couple videos of like breaking down what was happening. The one of the actors from the franchise, I forget the character's name. I'm blanking on it now. Um, it was from part four or five, or five or six, one of the two. They kind of blend together, and I'm blanking right now on the character's name. He's actually an entertainment lawyer now in the industry, and did I pop out there for a minute?
I think he did. I wouldn't know. You like
Did I?
you like
Sorry, I
spot
don't
you
know if
like
it
spotted
looked
for like
like I
a minute.
popped out for a minute. Um, but he did a really, really great job at. I feel like it is.
I think you are spotting a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why. Should be
All right.
okay. Connection is fairly good. Literally, what is wrong with you? Anyways, dude who played. Let me see. Let me double check myself because it's gonna kill me. Um, it's the dude who played Shelly in part three. That's what it was.
Mhm.
What was his name? Larry Zerner. That's what it was. Larry Zerner, who played Shelly in Friday the 13th, Part 3, became an entertainment lawyer. And he did a really, really great job through all of the Friday the 13th lawsuit stuff, keeping fans in the loop about what was happening and kind of breaking down the legal terms and explaining it all, because that's a lot of, jargon that us common folk don't understand. But the thing that killed me about the lawsuit is in my head, I was just like, guys, if you would just stop fighting each other and be like, hey, let's make a new movie. Let's get our heads out of our asses and actually sit down and be like, hey, what do we want to do with this character? What do we want to do with this franchise? Let's work together and make a new film. They would be the money they would be getting out of the lawsuit would be a fraction of what they would actually be getting
No,
of
they're like
profits,
wasting money.
because
Legal
people
fees.
want Jason back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think of how much time we wasted because they were sitting there fighting with each other, when all of that time we could have had a new Friday the 13th movie. And
Mm-hmm.
then A24 announced this whole Crystal Lake thing, and now that's gotten a whole creative reset. That's a whole other story in and of itself. They're doing a creative reset of that series. Like, I don't know. It's very, very strange. The history of this franchise and kind of what's been going on with it. So I'm not 100% certain on what this Jason universe thing means, But let's see what the article has to say. So, Jason Universe Horror Inc. begins a new era of the Friday the 13th franchise. Here's the plan. Here's the plan. While we wait to see what happens with A24 and Peacock's planned Friday the 13th TV series Crystal Lake, currently undergoing a showrunner change, Horror Inc. has announced Jason Universe via an exclusive report from IGN this afternoon. Again, this was about a week ago, which is said to be the dawning of a new era from the original owners of the Friday the 13th franchise. What does that mean, you ask? Nobody knows. IGN details in their surprising report today. New Friday the 13th activations will span a wide range of platforms, from entertainment, games, immersive experiences, merchandise, and more, to be announced through 2024. For decades, Jason shocked and thrilled audiences who kept coming back for more. We're excited to work with Victor Miller, Mark Toberoff on new projects we'll announce in the coming months, said Robert Bazamian, president of Horror Inc. We're focused on honoring the legacy while elevating the fan experience and appealing to today's horror audiences as we develop new ways to watch, interact, and engage with the Jason universe. That scares me, because what does that mean? That could be broad.
Yeah.
That's a very broad statement right there. With the unique ability to remain at the forefront of pop culture for 44 years, Jason continues to top charts as one of the scariest villains of all time, with strong global awareness across multiple generations, thanks to billions of TikTok viewers plus millions and millions of gamers and movie fans. Said Sherry Khan, global GM of Horror Inc. We can't wait to introduce new Jason Universe activations to these amazing fans. Victor Miller is the writer of the original Friday the 13th, who won back the rights to the original horror classic several years back. That film's director, Sean Cunningham, has been battling Miller over the legal ruling ever since. They're still battling over it right now. Even though, like, literally, that's the crappy thing about the American court system, is it's like, they ruled like, hey, Victor Miller's got the rights. Sorry, man. And they're like, I'm appealing. Oh my God. Stop, bro. Like, really just stop. Please just stop. From what we gather, Victor, Mark Toberoff, and Robert Barzmanian joining forces for the Jason universe means the team has access to any and all existing elements of the Friday the 13th franchise. Same goes for the Crystal Lake series, which all three are involved in, but it doesn't mean they can make any new Friday movies. Former Crystal Lake showrunner Brian Fuller explained back in 2022, the movie rights are a completely different thing. They are tied up at New Line and are super, super messy. I hate that. An official website for the Jason universe has been launched this week, where you can sign up to receive updates and the latest news from the new venture. Be sure to get on there ASAP. Speaking of getting on there, let me pull up this other the Jason universe official website. I was looking at this earlier. Still just as confused after looking, if not more confused after looking at the website. It says, welcome to a new era from the original owners of the Friday the 13th franchise. But here's the thing. First of all, the logo is strange. The universe with the 13th, like, okay, that's kind of cool. The I get that. That hockey mask looks like garbage. It looks terrible.
I was gonna mention that. No one say it, but
it does not look good at all. I don't like it. So it's like, hey, sign up to get the latest news. Blah 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 blah. Follow the Jason universe.
That one looks nice.
Their TikTok and stuff, whatever. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Like, why couldn't they go with that logo? That's it.
I mean, it looks the same. I think it's just
the entire website. I don't know. That's a way better logo. That's weird.
Yeah,
that's strange looking. So yeah,
your guess is as good as mine.
I don't know, man. Like here's the thing. What are they gonna do? The Jason universe, like, how? It's just, to me, like, all I can think of
is rebooting.
Is that it's just a way. But they can't reboot it because they don't have the film rights. So it's not like there's a new film coming out. You know what I mean? I don't. Yeah. From everything we just read and from everything we've heard, it doesn't sound to me like there is a new film on the horizon anytime soon. I don't think that's a thing. I just realized my light is off. I don't think there's a new film on the horizon at all. I don't. What I do think is that they're going to. I think this is just going to be the hub for the Jason character to
Hmm.
be like, hey, anytime you see like it's just a way to organize the movies that they already have, as well as like the video game, and him appearing in Fortnite and whatever. Like I don't. Again, I think it's a fancy way of not really saying anything new. Like they've got the pretty website and the accounts, and I could be wrong. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but the whole like them saying that you know um I forget how it was worded about the developing new ways to watch, interact, and engage within the Jason universe. Like, what is that? If you can't do a new, yes, you have the Crystal Lake series, but if you can't do a new movie, you're already doing a TV show. Are you going to do another video game? The guys at Gun in Lexington already made a killer Friday the 13th game, and it had to go off the servers. You can't like play it online anymore.
Is that because of the
I
lawsuit?
have it back there. I believe so. I think it's partially. I think they only had the rights for a certain amount of time. Yeah. So like if like I have my copy over here, like I can put it in my PS4 and play it, but I can't play it online anymore. At least I think. At least that was the case a while ago. You know. Good thing they have that new Texas Chainsaw game to play, which looks baller. That
Yeah.
looks really cool. I'd low key like to pick
No,
up a
it's
copy of
two
that.
franchises. I think they're just off the wagon. I would say it's TCM and Friday.
Well, and Nightmare is too. Like, it's the same thing for Nightmare. I don't understand. Now, Nightmare isn't locked in a legal battle, but I don't understand why those two specifically have laid dormant for so long. Because I
Mhm.
think if you want to be true about this, I am as big of a Halloween fan as anybody else. And I think the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy was extremely successful in many different ways. But I think, now I'm not saying give it the trilogy treatment, but I think a remake or I don't know if I want legacy sequels. However they chose to bring Freddy and Jason back, that could potentially be bigger than the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy. And the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy was pretty big. Michael Myers is a big deal, but Freddy and Jason are quite possibly a bigger deal because the two of them were the kings of the 80s. You know what I mean? I mean, what started out as two really scary horror characters within a decade became two complete staples within pop culture, you know? So
Mhm.
like, I don't know. It blows my mind that it's been this difficult to get anything new on the horizon or to get something new jump started because it doesn't make sense to me as to why it's been so difficult to do this. Friday the 13th it's got the lawsuit, but Nightmare, you're telling me nobody has pitched a new Nightmare project? There have been reports that that's not true because a couple probably 2-3 years ago maybe there were a lot of reports that the Wes Craven estate was hearing pitches for a new Nightmare film because Elijah Wood was interested. That's
And
a
like
weird choice.
acting as Freddy.
I believe in like writing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Elijah Wood was
Nice
interested
to have
in
Frodo write me a Nightmare on Elm Street film.
helming like a Freddy movie, which is kind of
Hmm.
dope. It's weird, but it's kind of dope. Um, but yeah, I don't. It's
It's
so
always
strange,
interesting to
man.
find someone that's like into a franchise that you didn't think they were. They just didn't mention it.
Yeah,
I mean, like I wouldn't expect Elijah Wood to be such a Friday,
Nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street fan.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Let me pull up Twitter real quick. See if the old Jason universe has anything on its Twitter.
They have their own Twitter.
Jason. Yeah, man. They have it like the whole Jason universe thing. It's got a Twitter account. Like, let's see. I followed it. Welcome to a new era of the Friday the 13th franchise. Sign up today to get the latest Jason universe news. But see again.
Quiet! It's just a weirdo in a mask. It's just a weirdo in a mask. Oh, man.
Oh my
Bro,
god, was that
if that's what we're
was
getting, I
that
don't want that.
Scooby Doo?
Like, multiversus? I don't know what that is. What's multiversus? Warner Brothers multiversus? Yeah, it's something to do with Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's like the fighting game, I think.
Yes, it was Scooby Doo.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
fighting game.
yeah, but yeah, it's just confusing. Like I, I don't know exactly where they're going with this. I don't. It feels like a way to just repackage the same stuff and to tie the old same stuff into the old same stuff or the
I
new
mean,
stuff into the
I mean,
you know it doesn't
anything.
seem like
You don't have anything like new. Like you gotta like recycle stuff. So
yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting one. If you have any thoughts, if you're listening to this, if you have any thoughts on what this Jason universe thing could be, please leave me a comment or leave us a comment, tweet at us, DM us something, because I'm kind of at a loss for this one. Like I feel bad because I'm like, I wanted to, when I saw that news drop, I was like, we'll get a video out and let me think about this and we'll try and figure out like what are a couple different ways this could go. This one's got me.
your guess is as
I'm
good as
stumped.
mine. Yeah.
I don't know. Like this one is confusing for me. It's
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like old cousin Eddie in Christmas Vacation. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. But what I do know is that Cillian Murphy is confirmed to come back for 28 years later, which I'm stoked about. I adore 28 Days Later. I like 28 months, or not months, 28 weeks later. It's good.
Hmm.
I dig it. Still fits in with the world, I'm hoping to adore 28 years later and the other two films in that trilogy, but I'm I am cautiously optimistic. I am
As
more so
one
cautiously
would.
optimistic about the fact that Cillian Murphy is confirmed to return in that film. We knew that he was going to be an executive producer on the project with Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, but we did not know if the character of Jim would return to the story, and now we do. He 100% has been confirmed to appear. So this story was on IGN. Cillian Murphy confirmed to appear in 28 years later, but he'll be back in a surprising way, a Sony executive says. I have thoughts on that in just a minute. As more details emerge about the
He's probably a zombie.
long-led sequel, could you?
Like
How angry
gonna be
would you
some.
be
It's
if
gonna
the
be some like random character. It's gonna be like some random character that pops out of nowhere. It's like, oh, here's your main antagonist, and the reason why is because Cillian Murphy is a zombie.
we waited all that time and he's just infected anyways and that's it. Oh,
Yeah,
I'd be so mad. I might walk out of the theater if that happened.
that would
I'd be
piss off
so
a lot of
upset.
people. I guarantee it.
Oh, it really pissed me off. One of the biggest questions was whether or not recent Oscar winner, that's damn right, Cillian Murphy would be returning to join the cast, and we just got our answer. In a recent interview with Deadline, Sony Motion Pictures Group chairman Tom Rothman was asked if Murphy would be joining the cast. Previously, it was announced he would be on board as an executive producer, but it was unclear if he'd be reprising his lead role from the original 28 Days Later. Yes, but in a surprising way and in a way that grows. Let me put it that way, Rothman answered. This is director Danny Boyle at his best, combined with a very commercial genre like we had with Edgar Wright and Baby Driver. Sometimes when you put a real signature director into a commercial arena, it elevates it. I really like Danny. Oh, I just read all of that without the thing being up. I'm so sorry. I really like Danny Boyle. I think he's a great director. I think he's a visionary director. I think he's a very aesthetic director. 28 Days Later has, I think the thing that sets apart 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later is that 28 Days Later, first of all, it was filmed on film. So it has that kind of grainy, classic look to it.
Hmm.
There's even the movement. There's something about the way that movement looks on film. The infected or zombies or whatever you want to call them, I'll forever argue that they're zombies. I have a whole video about that on the channel. One of my favorite videos I've ever dropped. There's something about the way they move that's very violent and very visceral and very like spasmy. And the way that looks on camera is terrifying. It's 28 days. The reason I love it, one of the reasons I love that film so much is that it still to this day like freaks me out. Like I can listen to the soundtrack in the house in a heartbeat, like the main title sequence theme of that film, and I get chills in the car listening to it. Like if that I know I'm weird. If that apocalypse happens, I'm just like I'm ending myself. Like I'm good. I don't need that. If The Walking Dead happens, all right, I can live with that. If
that's just
that
free play
happens,
mode.
nah, like I'm good, man. But yeah, there's something about it that feels very visceral. And I'm hoping with the fact that Danny Boyle is set to return to that, I'm hoping that we get more of that same aesthetic and feel, you know. But anyways, as Rothman alludes to, that means a reunion between Murphy, Boyle, and co-writer Alex Garland more than 2 decades after 28 Days Later. It's worth noting, though, that the trio has worked together since then on 2007's Sunshine. That puts Murphy in the midst of a star-studded cast that also includes Ralph Fiennes, who played Voldemort, Jodie Comer, and Aaron Taylor Johnson. It was reported last month. And of course, it also continues the role that Murphy's been on, having just recently won his first Academy Award for his lead role in Christopher Nolan's hit Oppenheimer. 28 Days Later was one of his breakout roles back in 2002, where he played Jim, a bicycle courier who woke up from a coma to find himself in a post-apocalyptic London after an aggression-inducing virus led to the breakdown of society. Murphy didn't return for 2007's 28 Weeks Later, which followed a different cast of characters. We first learned that 28 Years Later was officially greenlit back in January, and plans for the revival of a series to be a trilogy. What's more, IGN had previously learned that the Marvels and Candyman director Nia DaCosta, Nia DaCosta, Nakastakahaka, I don't know what I'm talking about. Nia DaCosta has been in talks to direct the second movie of the trilogy. Before that, though, 28 Years Later is slated to hit theaters on June 20th, 2025. So we are just over a year away from the actual release of 28 Years Later. I'm stoked. Now,
imagine. I understand 28 Days Later. That makes sense. 28 Weeks Later makes even more sense, and like timeline events. 28 years later?
Yeah. I have a prediction. Are you ready to hear my prediction?
Sure, go ahead.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
So, in the first 2 films, it was pretty contained. It was contained in England. It was not a global, at least from what I remember. I would have to go back and rewatch 28 Weeks Later. It's been a little while, which we're going to fairly soon anyways because we're going to start hitting up zombies. We have one last episode to do, which, by the way, I swear we're working on the Dr. Sleep episode. I feel like it's been like since February when we tried to do The Shining. That was when life started to feel crazy after I was in that car accident. But I promise you we're going to do that last episode, and then we're diving rock hard into zombies. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, we are head first into zombies. Not really, because we would die. I don't want to be eaten. But
I would.
But anyways, so we're going to get ready to dive into the zombie thing. So, and of course, they are zombies. You can sit and argue with me in the comments, but they're zombies. I'm telling you right now. Attack me in the comments if you will, but they're zombies. But when we dive into that, we'll rewatch both 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later and talk about them on Purely and Simply Evil. 28 Leaks Later.
Purely and
leeks, like the vegetable leeks. But my prediction for this is that this will be 28 years after the original London outbreak. They'll have since, like, the virus will be, things will be normal at the beginning of this film. I'm predicting that things will be fairly normal globally. There's not going to be an outbreak anywhere, and something is going to happen which causes the outbreak, and it's going to go global. It's going to be an apocalyptic scenario worldwide, not just for London, not just for England, not just a small portion of one country.
Do you think
like,
the
What?
focus is going to stay in London?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a World War Z thing where we travel between, we're seeing what's happening in New York and London and Sydney and, Moscow and like all these different places around the world. Could be that, could not be that. I don't know. Maybe it will be focused on a specific place. But my prediction is that it's going to be, we're going to see a global outbreak begin in 28 years later, and they'll expand on that in the next two films in the trilogy. He also said that we see Cillian Murphy in a surprising way and in a way that grows. So I'm thinking he's not going to be the main character. Like, I'm not prepared. I'm mentally preparing myself now that Cillian Murphy's Jim is not going to be the main character of 28 years later. I'm okay with that. But they need to set him up meaningfully to return in the other two films, as well as Selena and Megan, because I want to see those two characters too, because I really like both of those characters a lot. Honestly, it doesn't make sense to me that you would have Jim without having Selena and Megan, unless they're keeping them under wraps and try to keep that kind of secretive, But I think I could see it being kind of a cameo type thing, or maybe he's only in at the end of the film, something like that. But I think after 28 years later, after the first film, for 28 years kills and 28 years ends, essentially, I think we'll switch the focus back to Jim. So that's kind of my prediction for how 28 years later is going to go. I could be 100% wrong, but I'm thinking that's kind of what they're going to do. It doesn't make sense to me that this is going to be 28 years after the original outbreak, and like if it would have gone global after 28 weeks later, because we know from both of those films, we know that those infected or those zombies, they die like people die. Like they can starve to death and be done. There's no reanimation. There's no, unless they choose to go there and like add to the lore of that virus. But there's like, once they die of starve, we saw that at the end of 28 Days Later when the jet goes passing by and they throw out the "help us," thing at the end of the film. Like, there are a couple of zombies that look up at the jet and they're like skin and bones, like they've got nothing left, So we know that even the soldier in 28 Days Later, when you remember when they're at the compound and they've got the one soldier, the guy tied up in the garden area, and he's like, the lieutenant guy, he's like, he's helping me to learn how long it takes for one of them to starve to death, essentially. Like, so I think
it's better. It's a better, the more interesting theory, as opposed to them becoming dormant due to inactivity. You know what I mean?
Right. Or like in The Walking Dead,
of like they need to hunt. They need to keep hunting for food,
right?
As opposed to like if there's nothing there, they just stay dormant until something pops up, kind of like a beehive.
Right. And if nothing pops up, they die off. They die. That's why the 28 years later, like if we're just 28 years into the apocalypse, technically there wouldn't be very many infected, because most of them would have starved to death by now. Because I mean, if you're thinking, okay, at first it would be complete massacre, bloody chaos, because you have hordes of people around the globe turning into zombies and turning into the infected. And yes, for a couple months it would be terrible, but then 6 months to a year and a half after that, when they all start dying off of hunger because there's only infected, then the people that are left, you see what I'm saying? Like, it would just be people fighting people at that point. It wouldn't be people fighting infected. So that's why my theory is that this movie will start out, things are good. London is back basically to normal, and then something will happen.
They got Twitter X, Instagram Reels are still a thing. TikTok came back,
So, but yeah, so that's my theory, and I'm not prepping myself for Cillian Murphy to have some like groundbreaking, incredible role in this film. I think they're gonna set him up for something more. I'm gonna be really pissed if he's in it for like 5 minutes and then he dies. I'm like,
Yeah, it's gonna be like
like I
some
waited all this time for that,
it's gonna be some like weird monologue, and then all of a sudden, like he just gets
Yeah.
absolutely demolished by some like variant.
Yeah. So, but I am excited to see what they do with that film. I've wanted that for a long time. I thought they were going to go 28 months later, but I guess they were like, hell, it's been long enough. It's been 20 years. Let's just do 28 years later.
Yeah.
I get it. So, but I'm stoked that Danny Boyle's returning too. I really do like him as a director. I think he is very overlooked as a director.
Danny
He's
Boyle.
a good dude. Yes.
What projects?
What else has he done? Let's see. Danny Boyle,
Boy.
director and film producer. He did Slumdog Millionaire. That's a great movie. 127 Hours, another really great movie. That's about the guy Aaron Ralston, the guy who fell down in the canyon and cut his arm off. Yesterday, the Beatles film. I mean, he's good, man. He's one of those directors where it's like he doesn't have like some massive, portfolio of movies, but the stuff that he's done is really great.
Yeah, he definitely has some heavy hitters over here. Steve
does.
Jobs, 8 weeks, 28 days.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, Steve Jobs too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yep. Slumdog Millionaire is an incredible movie. That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, he's a great director, and I'm stoked to see what he's going to do with 28 Years Later. It's a movie that I've waited for a long time, and I know a lot of horror fans have waited for it. I think it's honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. Somebody in a Facebook post was asking people like, hey, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite horror movie? That kind of thing. And I was like, if we're talking like franchise, like big, like heavy hitter franchise. I mean, technically 28 Days Later is a part of a franchise, but if we're talking heavy hitter franchises, I'd say Halloween's probably my favorite. But if we're talking like relatively standalone horror, like just I want to sit and watch something that's going to scare me, I think I would say 28 Days Later is my favorite horror movie. I really do. It legitimately scares me.
It's definitely a
what it
scarier
is.
film. I think it's because the fact that the zombies look more rabid than anything.
It's like rabies, or it's so violent. Like everything about them, the way they like, even just like, I don't know, the scene when the one that was tied up escapes. There's a scene where he's just looking through a glass window at a soldier. And it's like, he's not even he's just going. And the way he's looking at him is violent. Like it's so just like, I don't know. There's something about it. It's so good. I love that film. But so there's a lot going on in the horror world right now, in the movie world. And we've missed a lot of it, but hopefully this is the start of a brand new friendship. Not really, but I hope it's the start of us getting back to more of a normal schedule. By the way, I dropped a video a couple weeks ago about horror endings. It was some of my favorite endings in horror. Definitely go check that out. I've been breaking that up. I have a couple of them broken up. I need to schedule those probably after I'm done with this. But I'll drop those as, mini clips as well. But that's a cool video. That was a fun one to make. I've been working on that for a while. And I have 3 or 4 other videos that I'm just like, I'm behind on, but they're scripted and they're ready to rock. So I'll be getting those out over the next few weeks. And yeah, on Monday, me and Miguel are going to go eat some overpriced food.
Overpriced taco truck foods and overpriced beer, pretty much.
And drink a whole bunch of beer, and it's going to be a good time. I'm excited.
Same here, bud.
So, guys, we love you. So glad that we're back and with you. I hope you enjoyed this show. This has been the 122nd episode of Let's Talk Movies. By the way, I forgot to mention this. First of all, leave this a like. Second of all, We are at 989 subscribers as of the last time I looked at it. So that makes us officially 11 subscribers away from crossing the 1,000 milestone, which is pretty bonkers.
It is.
But we're super stoked. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that before the summer's over. We've always tried not to put too much stock into the subscriber thing, but it would be really special to be able to hit that milestone. It's a big one.
At least for us.
People.
Yeah. I know some
Yeah,
people
I
would like to go higher, but I'm happy.
I think for a lot of people it is, though. I think it's a big milestone for anybody who does this,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the podcast thing, the YouTube thing, the creator thing. It's just it's cool, it's it's something we've talked about for a long time. So hopefully we'll hit that in the next couple of months, but we absolutely love you guys. Again, we are going to get that Dr. Sleep episode with Good Rail Hunting and Nick from the Lost River Drive-In and Austin from SPC Unleashed. We're going to get that rolling in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we've been trying. I promise you, we've been trying. We've been going, four of us have all been going back and forth trying to get that thing ironed out and ready to go for you guys. So we'll be talking Dr. Sleep very, very soon. And then after that, Zombies. We will be talking zombies on Purely Inspelevable, and we're stoked about that as well. Lots of new things coming up, guys. We love you so much. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, and we hope that you eat a whole bunch of overpriced food this weekend as well. Hope so.
Yeah.
But
Please come see us if you can.
not really. But yes. Goodbye. I don't know what I'm saying.